Good morning. I know the ache that sets in when someone you trusted seems to turn against you. I know the way a word, a look, an absence can sit like a stone in the chest and say, "This is what you are worth." I'm not going to minimize it, and I'm not going to make light of you for feeling it. No. But I am going to lift it out of the arena where you have been fighting. If a person can hurt you, you have already conceded two powers. You have granted a second authority over your inner life and worshipped at that altar. The pain persists as long as you keep that idol in place. Now, that is a shock, I know. It sounds, almost unfair. How can I say the person is not the source of your suffering when the text messages are there, the silence is there, the betrayal is there? Listen, I did not say there was no experience on the human scene. I said, in the language of consciousness, that what you are suffering is the mental picture, your concept, your accepted claim, parading as person and demanding obedience. In other words, the mind manufactures an image, a verdict, and then bows to it as a god. And the moment you bow, you have two powers, God and the image. That is the breach, and that is why it hurts. Right here we take up a password, not poetry, not religion as ceremony, but a usable key the instant the reaction starts. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. You must take that into the very place where your heart is pounding and your jaw tightens. Whisper it if you must, shout it inside if you must, but take it as a shibboleth through which you pass out of the hypnotic picture into presence. Where? Where the Spirit is. What is there? Liberty. Not from them, don't you see? Liberty from the concept of them as a power. From this moment, we set a non-negotiable standard. We are not trying to fix them. We are not attempting to revise the narrative, manipulate the outcome, or secure a promise that they will change. We have one demonstration only: the realization of the presence of God. We are not going to try to do anything to the condition, or to the person, or to ourselves. All we are going to do is bring into conscious awareness the fact of God's presence. Because where that Spirit is felt, where it is realized, liberty already is. This whole series is a rescue from two-power thinking. Me versus them. Good people versus bad people. You can be in it, but not of it. As you impersonalize the claim, this is a mental picture asserting power, not a person empowered to define me. You begin to recover dominion. And right at the first twinge, remember your password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Bring it to the very gate of pain, and you will feel the hinge begin to turn. Now let us be very clear and very honest with ourselves. You are not suffering the raw event now. That happened yesterday, last year, or 5 minutes ago. You are suffering the picture of it, the stored image to which you have attached a history, a tone of voice, a motive you have supplied, and a forecast of what it will mean tomorrow. The mind builds a little shrine, paints it with phrases. He is selfish. She always leaves. They never see me. And then, day and night, lights incense to it by rehearsal. You are not relating to the living presence. You are bowing to your own exhibition of the past, dressed up as a person with power. That is why it stings afresh. Not because a new blow has landed, but because the projector in here keeps the reel running, until the figures on the screen look more solid than God. Do you see how this is manufactured? The inner commentator supplies motive. He meant to humiliate me. Timing. She does it every time I open my heart. And the verdict. They will do it again. Then, like propaganda repeated on every corner, It begins to sound like fact merely because it is frequent. But repetition is not law. 2 times 2 does not become 5 because a chorus shouts it from 1,000 radios. There is no principle in the universe to support it. So with a false concept. It may wear the music of certainty, it may have a choir behind it, but it is lawless. It stands only by your consent to keep hearing it, seeing it, fearing it. Make the distinction now that marks the turning. The event is an incident, a moment in time. The suffering is the ongoing concept, fed by memory on the one side and anticipation on the other. The event may require a human response as wisdom guides, but the bondage is never in the event. The bondage is in the worship of the picture. And the moment you accept the picture as a second power, you are back under its government. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Take that as the password precisely when the picture is loudest. Not to argue with it, not to sand down its edges, but to step through the curtain into presence where it cannot breathe. Here is the first gentle correction, and it is merciful because it does not fight shadows. Do not struggle with the person image. Do not debate it. Do not improve it. Do not pray it into a better temperament. Recognize it as a mental object. This is the concept called the selfish man. This is the concept called the abandoning woman. This is the concept called the blind committee. Name it impersonally so that you may cease to worship it personally. Then quietly withdraw consent. How? By refusing to feed it your attention and by turning, even if only for a minute, to the one demonstration. Father, thy presence is my liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the picture. We are going to let it be nothing in the light of the realized presence. And as you dwell there, the idol will topple of itself, because no law, no life sustains it. Where the Spirit is felt, resentment loses its altar. Let us go a step deeper, because unless you see how this thing keeps breathing, you will believe the ache is proof of their power, rather than proof of a suggestion repeating itself. Behind all of the discords of the world is hypnotism, mass belief, world thought, the mesmeric drum that says day and night, personalities have power, histories have authority, labels define you. You were trained in it before you knew the alphabet. Family stories at the dinner table, playground verdicts, advertising slogans, classroom comparisons. Each one a little tap saying, this is what people are. This is what you are. And, we come to accept it as climate. That is what I mean by world belief. How does it enter your relationships? It puts on your loved one's face and whispers through their features, I'm unlovable. People use you. Men are dangerous. Women will betray you. Authority always hurts. Those are not truths of God. Those are borrowed garments hung on living souls. They are the hand-me-downs of a frightened race. And once you take one into your closet, you start dressing your private story in it every morning. Then an ordinary human incident, a missed call, a sharp tone, walks in the door already guilty, because your inner courtroom has the sentence written before the case is heard. That is why the wound feels ongoing. The suggestion is ongoing. The poster is still on every street corner of your mind. If you want a contemporary illustration, look at the loop on your screen. 100 clips of heartache, 1,000 headlines of betrayal. Counsel sliced into 30 seconds and hammered into categories. Narcissist, avoidant, love bomber. Until you can recite the catechism of distrust. Algorithms are only the new propaganda bureaus, printing the same story with different pictures. And if you read it often enough, you will swear it is your autobiography. Then when your partner is late, When your supervisor corrects your work, when a friend needs space, the chorus rises inside. See? Same as always. But repetition is not law. 2 times 2 does not become 5 because a million screens declare it. The Spirit does not sign those headlines. Now here are the moral stakes, and they are not small. If hypnotism, be it family script, media loop, or the echo of a teacher's insult, can dictate your peace, then in your awareness God is not omnipresent. You have installed a second power. You are in the world's weather, and of it. The Master said, "Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given." And he did not give it. You must not give it. You can be in it, but not of it. Take your password at the very moment the loop starts. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not to argue with the storyline. Not to paste a positive sticker over a negative poster. We are not going to try to do anything to it. All we are going to do is bring the realization of God's presence to bear right where the suggestion shouts. And in that light, the shout cannot sustain itself. So our work is not to perfect humanhood, yours or theirs. It is not to compose a smarter narrative or memorize a savvier label. Our work is awakening. When presence is realized, the claim of mass belief is seen as nothingness, and the ongoing wound is revealed as yesterday's billboard no longer paid for. Where the Spirit is felt, there is liberty, and the inner government returns to one power only. Here we make the pivot, and it is uncompromising. From this hour, you have no demonstration to make about a human being. No demonstration to make about their apology, their behavior, your reputation, or the outcome of the relationship. You have one demonstration only, the realization of the presence of God. Do not let your concern be for reconciliation. Do not let your concern be for vindication. Do not let your concern be for an explanation that will, settle the mind. Let your concern be that you can sit down, or stand in a doorway, or walk down a hall, and feel that surging of the Spirit within you, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the relationship, to the past, or to the personality. All we are going to do is bring the realization of God's presence to bear, and when we attain that, liberty will be found there. Now I know the mind's trick here. I know it because I have played it and, been found out. We say we want forgiveness, but we want relief. We say we want love, but what we really want is for them to be different. We say we want truth, but we want a guarantee that the truth will look like our preferred ending. None of this is condemnation. This is honesty. In earlier days I said, I'm not trying to get well, and I didn't mean it. I wanted health. So too in this. You will be tempted to say, I seek only God, while peeking over the shoulder of your prayer to see if they texted. Integrity requires this. Together or apart, praised or blamed, remembered or forgotten, I am determined that the object of my life is spiritual awareness. When you say, I am not trying to change them, you have to mean it. How then do we practice? At the instant the mental picture rises, at the moment the sentence starts in your head, do not negotiate with it. Close the inner door. Whisper your password, not as ritual, but as entry. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the picture, not going to edit it or paint a smile on it. We are going to let it be nothing in the light of realized presence. Sit, if you can, until the words warm. Sit until the hush forms. Sit until there is a little pressure of peace in the chest, a looseness in the jaw, a clarity that was not there a minute ago. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. That peace is the resolution, not the world's arrangement of personalities, but the government of one felt within. Does this mean you will not speak, will not set a boundary, will not, if wisdom instructs, separate? No. You can be in it, but not of it. You may have the conversation, you may say no, you may step back for a season. But inwardly, you refuse to live in the atmosphere of resentment. You do not take your steps as the arm of flesh defending a wounded image. You take them in quietness, under the sense that no person has power over your inner weather. Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given, and you are not giving it. Make this operational. In the car, at the kitchen sink, in the office corridor. When the text is read and the old film starts, enter by the password, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." Stay there not to force a feeling, but until the presence is felt. Sometimes 10 seconds, sometimes 10 minutes, but wait for presence. Drop the name, drop the face, drop the story, and say within, "Father, here." And when presence is realized, often you will find that the scene changes of itself. And if it does not, you are already free. Because liberty is not a rearrangement of shadows, but the end of your consent to them as a power. Seek first the kingdom, and the rest takes care of itself. By law you do not manage. Where the Spirit is felt, liberty is, and no second power remains to dictate your peace. Now let us do the simple work. And it is simple because it asks so little of the human mind. Sit quietly, on a chair, on the edge of the bed, in the parked car. Sit and let the breath find you. No techniques, no efforting. Just a soft attention, as if you were listening for a friend at the door. Whisper your password, not as an incantation, but as a recognition. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the condition. We are going to invite the light and let it show us what we have been fighting. Now, without commentary, let the troubling person appear as an image on the inner screen. Do not supply the speech. Do not add the history. Just let the face, the gesture, the empty chair rise and take its place. Look at it as you would look at a photograph in a museum, quietly, without climbing into it. Ask, what is the headline my mind has printed over this picture? Betrayer? Critic? Abandoner? Controller? Let one word or a short phrase present itself. Next, where do I feel this in the body? The throat like a fist? A pressure under the ribs? Heat in the face? Just notice. What future does this image predict if I believe it? It will happen again. I will be alone. I will be shamed. And what judgment is attached? They are cruel. I am unworthy. Love is dangerous. Let it write itself out without censorship, because you are not endorsing it, you are exposing it. Now you take the crucial step. Impersonalize the claim. Not, John did this to me, but a claim of betrayal is presenting itself in consciousness. Not, my mother ruins my peace, but a suggestion of chronic criticism is asserting power. Not, that boss defines my worth, but a concept of external judgment is attempting government. Do you feel the shift? Biography turns into suggestion. Person turns into picture. This matters because as long as it is personal, you will defend and attack, shadowboxing with your own projection. When it is recognized as impersonal, it can be surrendered without humiliation, because you are not capitulating to a person, you are withdrawing consent from a lawless thought form. Now the first refusal. Do not negotiate with the concept. Do not justify it by gathering exhibits A through Z. Do not correct it with sweetened adjectives. Let it stand uncovered. Headline, body sensation, predicted future, attached judgment, like a cardboard cutout in bright noon. There is no principle to enforce it, just as there is no mathematics to make 2 times 2 become 5, no matter how loudly the world repeats it. Whisper, "Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given," and you are not giving it. Then, again, your password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the picture. We are going to abide. Just a minute, just 3 breaths, until presence is felt, even faintly, and let the light do the dissolving you cannot do. Practice this as a daily way of seeing. Locate the concept. Name its headline. Notice its felt echo. Expose the future it prophesies. Hear the judgment it carries. Then depersonalize it and refuse to parley. In that instant, it is no longer a person with authority. It is a mental object, surrenderable, dismissible, without law. And where the Spirit is realized, you will find that liberty has quietly reclaimed the government of your inner life. Now we make the turn from looking at the picture to letting the light look at us. This is the holy pivot from analysis to contemplation. We are not going to try to improve the image. We are not going to try to push it away or repaint it with kinder colors. We are not going to do anything to it. All we are going to do is bring the realization of God's presence to bear right there where the picture was loud, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. That is not poetry to calm you. That is the operative truth that dissolves what no law supports. Sit quietly. 5 minutes if you can. 1 minute if you cannot. Hands loose, jaw soft, eyes at rest. Let the breath be what it is. Do not reach for a result. Whisper, "Father, here," and then your password, slowly enough to hear it. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Say it once, twice, and then wait as you would wait for a friend at the door. No strain, no bargaining. Your only concern is to feel, even faintly, that surging of the Spirit within you. Do not let your concern be for the picture. Do not let your concern be for a changed feeling. Let your concern be that presence comes to awareness. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. We are resting for that. How do you recognize it? Liberty announces itself in small ways. A little space around the thought, a loosening under the ribs, a softening where the fist had been. The sentence that was starting stops without your help. The compulsion to rehearse loses its urgency. The body need not perform defense maneuvers. Do not congratulate yourself. Stay. Let the quiet increase until the picture, still present or already faded, is seen from the side rather than from within. Darkness does not argue with light. It cannot. In the realized presence, the picture has no atmosphere to breathe. Remember the principle. The Christ is not an improved human attitude. The Christ is the recognition of spiritual identity, the awareness of God as the life and law, right where a concept was claiming personhood. In that recognition, the mental picture cannot maintain itself, because there is no principle to support it, no law to enforce it, no me to be governed by it. Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given. And in this stillness, you are not giving it. You can be in it, but not of it. The scene may remain for a season, but it does not define your inner weather. Make it practical. Each time the image rises, do not negotiate. Enter by the password and wait. And let the light do the work you cannot do. 30 seconds at the sink, 2 minutes in the car, 10 minutes before sleep. Enough to feel that surging and to know you are in the government of one. We are not going to try to do anything to the picture. We are going to abide in presence until it has no place to land. And you will find that where the Spirit is realized, liberty has already arrived. First as space, then as softness, then as a steady non-reactivity that is not a mood, but the mark of Christ recognized. Now here's the core revelation, and it is as simple as it is uncompromising. There are not two powers. There is only God, Spirit, the one presence and law. The second power is the belief that another person's mind, mood, or action can govern your peace. Name it that clearly so you can refuse it that cleanly. Every time you feel the jolt in the stomach or the heat in the face, you have come to a fork. Either you accept the hypnotic claim and ride the reflex into speech, defense, and new grievance, or you stand in spiritual integrity and let the wave pass without lodging in you. In that split second, you are not fixing a relationship. You are choosing a government. Make the refusal concise and immediate. Do not argue. Do not dramatize. Say within, "This is not a person power. This is a suggestion. I do not consent." Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Then be still. 10 seconds can be enough, until you feel that slight slackening under the ribs that says the hook did not set. Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given, and you are not giving it. We are not going to try to do anything to the picture, or to the person, or to your feeling. We are going to stand with one. Now, I hear the objection. But what they did was wrong. On the human scene it may be. Wisdom will tell you what conversation to have, what boundary to set, even what door to close. You can be in it, but not of it. What we are refusing is bondage, not justice. We are awakening, not excusing. As long as you enthrone a second power, you will either punish or plead, and in both cases you will be ruled by the very concept you fear. This is not sentencing court. This is exodus. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Let your first fidelity be to that peace, and your human actions, when you take them, will not be the arm of flesh defending an idol, but quiet steps taken in the government of one. What changes first? Not their behavior. Do not make your freedom wait on that. Your atmosphere changes. The air inside clears. The inner government returns to its rightful throne. The compulsion to explain yourself ebbs. The appetite to rehearse thins. There is room for wisdom to be heard. Sometimes the outer scene softens by itself. Sometimes truth reveals a new path and you walk it. Sometimes nothing outward seems different at all, and yet you are free, because you have stopped making them the source of your inner weather. You are no longer a barometer of moods. You are a sanctuary of presence. Take this as a daily law. At the trigger, take the fork that leads to one. Whisper your refusal, stand still a moment, feel the hush, and let the wave pass unmet. We are not trying to get a better outcome. We are consenting to God alone. And where the Spirit of the Lord is realized, liberty is. not after they change, not after the explanation, but at the instant two powers are refused, and only is known. Now we face the human scene again, because you will meet them. In a hallway, on a screen, at a table. And the old picture will try to put its mask back on the living face before you. Here is the integration. To recognize Christ in the other is to refuse to finalize them as your mental picture. It is the release of your verdict, the dropping of the sentence inscribed on your inner courtroom wall, and the consenting to see spiritual identity where a mortal label had been enthroned. You are not making believe that personalities are sweet. You are refusing to make a mortal identity the truth. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. And peace recognizes Christ, not caricature. This does not put you in danger. It puts you in integrity. Love is not indulgence. Love is not personal attachment nervously guarding its idol. Love may say no. Love may separate. Love may require honesty, sign a paper, protect the children, change the locks if wisdom says so. You can be in it, but not of it. The difference is this. Outwardly you may take firm steps. Inwardly, you will not carry a condemning concept as your traveling companion. You will not build a little gallows in your heart and walk around it. Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given. And you are not giving your consent to a picture of guilt as your private deity. Let me give you a simple practice for every meeting. Before the text, before the call, before you open the door, sit. 30 seconds will do. And feel for presence. Whisper your password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the person or to the conversation. We are going to bring the realization of God's presence. Drop the agenda to change them. Drop the rehearsal of lines. Say within, Father, go before me. Wait for the hush, even a small one. The softening under the ribs, the little window of space in thought. Then carry that liberty in. You are not the fixer. You are the transparency through which presence may be felt. When you enter in this way, something shifts. You are less hypnotized by the face and its history. You are more aware of the life that is there, whether the surface cooperates or not. You can be in the conversation, but not of the reaction. You can meet the human situation while abiding in spiritual identity. Your words may be clear, even firm. Your eyes need not burn. The old inner scorch is gone because the altar was dismantled. And you will notice fruits. You hear more than the sentence being spoken. Timing becomes intelligent. You do not interrupt to defend a picture. Sometimes compassion speaks. Sometimes silence governs. Sometimes truth closes the meeting kindly and concludes the chapter. Do not mistake this for passivity. It is authority. Quiet, unforced, and free of two-power bondage. Recognizing Christ in them is recognizing God's law where suggestion claimed person power. If they cannot join you there today, you still live there. If they can, you were ready. In either case, you walked in liberty. And where the Spirit of the Lord is realized, that liberty remains. Love that is not attachment. Boundary without bitterness. Relationship redeemed from hypnotic pictures by the simple grace of presence. Now we come to the test that separates pious talk from spiritual life. Many will practice until they feel better, and then they stop. Many will whisper the password and open one eye to see if the text has arrived. Many will sit in quiet to soften the hurt so they can return to the same idol that hurt them. I know this because I have done it and been found out. We say, I'm not trying to get well, and we don't mean it. We want a feeling. We want a result. We want the other to behave so that our prayer can be proved by a mood. Let us be gentle and absolutely honest. As long as relief is the object, the person concept remains your God, for it still holds the key to your inner weather. The leash is merely padded, not cut. Here's the integrity vow, and you must write it on the inside, where nobody sees it but God. Sick or well, praised or blamed, together or apart, I am determined that the object of my life is spiritual awareness. Do not let your concern be for comfort. Do not let your concern be for favorable sentiment. Do not let your concern be that the ache goes away by 4 o'clock. Let your concern be that you can sit down, breathe once, and feel that surging of the Spirit within you. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We are not going to try to do anything to the feeling, to the story, or to the other. All we are going to do is bring the realization of God's presence. And when you say, I am not doing this to feel better, you have to mean it. Why is this freedom? Because the demand for a specific emotional outcome is the oxygen of the concept. The more you require a certain feeling, the more you enthrone the picture that withholds it. Withdraw the demand, and you withdraw its diet. The suggestion knocks, finds no bargaining partner, and weakens. You step out of weather and into government. One law, one life, one peace. Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given. And you are not giving power to a sensation or to the face that seems to trigger it. You can be in it, but not of it. The feeling may pass through like wind in an empty room. It does not rearrange the furniture. Now do not pretend that this surrender is tidy. There is grief here, the honest mourning for the roles that have quietly organized our days. The victim who gathers sympathy. The fixer who earns identity by rescues. The loyal sufferer who proves love by endurance. These are garments. They are not your life. To lay them down feels like a death because it is the death of a familiar self. This is initiation, the third degree in which we face the end of material sense as our meaning. Leave your nets. You are not that story. You are not its hero, and you are not its casualty. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. And here is the reassurance that makes the surrender radiant. You are not losing anything real. You are being inducted into a quieter peace that no other's mood can negotiate away. When presence is the object, peace is not earned from them and cannot be revoked by them. Sit, take the password, and wait. Not for relief, but for God. Sometimes tears will come. Let them. Sometimes emptiness will open. Bless it. Into that uncluttered space, the Spirit announces itself. Not loud, not theatrical, but sure. And when it is felt, the hypnotic bond breaks of itself, because you did not bargain for comfort. You consented to reality. Seek first the kingdom, and liberty stands where you stand, untroubled by second powers, unbought by outcomes, and faithful beyond any story the mind can rehearse. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now let us make this plain and livable, because truth needs a doorway into your morning, your noon, and your night. At least 3 times a day, upon waking, somewhere in the middle, and before sleep, sit in quietness. 5 minutes if you can, 1 minute if you cannot. But sit, Not to rehearse problems, not to bargain with outcomes, but to feel the presence until it is tangible. Whisper, "Father, here." And then your password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Say it once or twice, then wait as you would wait for a friend. No strain, no forcing, until that little surging of the Spirit is there. A softening, a widening, a hush. Do not let your concern be for any condition. Do not let your concern be that a relationship improve. Let your concern be that the presence of God is realized. We are not going to try to do anything to the scene or to the feeling. All we are going to do is bring the realization of God's presence. When you attain that, liberty is found there. Next, the trigger practice, which is the doorway in the heat of the hour. At the first flicker of the image, the first sentence starting in the head, ask yourself this audit. Am I entertaining a person, or am I entertaining a concept? If it is a concept, name it impersonally. A claim of criticism, a suggestion of abandonment, a picture of control. And drop it into the presence. Do not wrestle. Do not correct its grammar. Refuse two powers at once and enter by the password. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Stand still 10 seconds or 10 minutes until the hook does not set. Thou couldst have no power over me except it were given, and you are not giving it. You can be in it, but not of it. We are not pushing feelings around. We are consenting to the government of one. Now, gratitude. Give up gratitude for improved personalities as your joy. Give up gratitude for reconciliations as your proof. Be grateful for God alone, for the felt presence, whether today brings a warm message, an honest boundary, or silence. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Let your prayer end not with, "Thank you for fixing it," but "Thank you for thy presence." That gratitude cannot be bribed, and therefore it cannot be stolen. Carry this as your daily rule. 3 quiet times to feel presence. The password at every trigger. The audit that turns persons into surrenderable concepts. Gratitude for God alone. Outer life will reconfigure as it must, sometimes reconciliation, sometimes a truthful conversation, sometimes a peaceful separation. And you will move wisely because you are not moving under the arm of flesh. The proof is inner liberty, consistent, quiet, unbribable. You still live in the world, but not in the same atmosphere. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Where liberty is realized, the mind no longer builds a second power, and you walk free.